Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Many Faces of Cancer podcast. I am your host, Melissa Grosbel, and joining me today is Claudia Perez-Favela. Claudia was born and raised in Sinaloa, Mexico. She immigrated to the United States in 2010. She is the proud mother of 3 children and a first-generation non-traditional student studying criminal justice. Claudia lost her mom to ovarian cancer in 2013, and she was diagnosed in 2018 at 38 years old with precancerous cells on her cervix because of one of the most aggressive types of HPV. After the stigma that Claudia encountered with her diagnosis and looking for answers, she found Survivor, and that's CERVIVOR. But Claudia didn't participate actively in Survivor until 2023, when she attended Survivor School in Seattle and became a graduate. Since then, she has been actively involved with Survivor by sharing her story and being a patient advocate, a volunteer community health worker for the Every Woman Counts program, a volunteer for the American Cancer Society, and a mentor for Immerman Angels in Imperial, California, where she lives. So welcome to the show, Claudia.
Thank you, Melissa, for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Of course. And there's so much in this bio that you sent me. I cannot wait to dive into all of it.
Okay.
So let's kind of start. So you said that your mom was diagnosed with ovarian cancer in 2013, or ovarian cancer, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Or she passed in 2013. So you have had kind of cancer in your life for a while. So just tell us a little bit about like what happened, what was going on in your life when you were diagnosed, when you went to have your pap smear, and like just give us a little bit of information about all that.
When I got diagnosed at the time, I always say I was still mourning the past, mourning my mom, and worry for the future and not enjoying the present. I was worrying and looking for ovarian cancer. I did my pap test every year after my mom died. But ovarian cancer, you cannot get it, check it through the pap test.
Right.
But I never had a normal pap test until 2017. I have like a hemorrhage, a high blood with my period. I wake up and this was like a mess. I remember waking up and I have never experienced that before. I was worried because it was one of my mom's symptoms.
Mm.
After that, I remember telling my dad my poor dad had to clean. My husband wasn't there,
Oh.
and because since I love my mom, I lost all my shame with my dad. My dad helped me to clean that at the time. I remember going to Tijuana. I didn't have insurance at the time. I remember going to Tijuana with my old doctor, with my gynecologist there, because when I immigrate, I didn't have health insurance for about 7 years.
Wow.
I get insurance that time until November when my husband job uh, the they open the thing and you can register. The registration open in November, and I remember doing an appointment to get uh, an appointment here. I remember getting an appointment here in the United States, and because I didn't want to go to Tijuana. Uh, again, going a little back, I went to TJ after all the blood passed, and my doctor told me, "Why you didn't come when you went through this?" And I say, "No, it's fine, no problem." It was just my period. I was thinking it was just my period, and she said, "No, next time you need to go to the hospital because that's concerning." But I say, okay, I don't want to go to TJ again because I have to drive 2.5 hours over there. I gonna do an first appointment here. I went to the gynecologist here, and they give me the appointment if until January. It has a long time, 2 or 3 months to get an appointment. And I was, okay, I will wait. I will wait. When I went to the appointment, I did my pap test. And I told the physician assistant, can you check my ovaries too? And can you check my CA-125 is the tumoral markers for ovarian cancer. I always was looking for ovarian cancer. I was more worried about ovarian cancer. But I remember she asked me, are you afraid of cancer? And I say, yes, I have three kids. They're three little kids. And I remember she did the test. She told me to wait for the results. If everything is okay, you're gonna get it by mail. If no, we are gonna call you to tell you something. I remember getting the results by mail. Everything was normal. I say, oh,
Wow.
okay, it's fine. But I remember the blood test. I had to wait more because they don't do it here. I think they send it to San Diego to check for the CA-125. And I remember it was like 1 week after I got the results on the email. They called me and they told me, hey, you got positive for HPV. And I say, no, my pap is negative. My pap is okay. No, yeah, you get positive for HPV on the blood test. You need to come to check if there is a false positive or the pap test is a false negative. Okay, it's fine. Come for a colposcopy in 2 weeks, something like that. And I remember I went for the colposcopy to the doctor, and when the doctor was doing the procedure, I saw the lessons there. I saw there
Mm.
something was wrong, but they didn't tell nothing. They didn't tell me nothing. Just, okay, wait another 2 weeks for the results and come to the office. Okay. I waited 2 weeks. I went to the office. When I get there, the physician assistant, it was a woman, and she told me, you have cancer. You have precancerous cells on your cervix and because of HPV. I just hear the word cancer. I didn't
Right.
hear anything else. I was so afraid and start crying. And she told me because you have one of the most aggressive types of HPV. When I asked her how I get infected, she told me, "Oh, it's because you have had so many sexual partners." And I say, "No, that's not my case. My husband is my only my one sexual partner." And she told me,
Wow.
"Oh,
She
yeah,
actually just came out
she,
and said that to you, not knowing
yeah."
anything about your history.
No, she didn't know nothing. It was my first time there. She didn't know my life story or whatever. And she told me, okay, if you are telling me it's not yours who has been with multiple sexual partners, maybe your husband is cheating on you. Your husband is cheating on you. And I was like, from
Oh my
crying to
gosh.
get mad. And I have my face can tell you when I'm sad or I'm mad. And I was like, this what?
Oh my
And she
gosh.
said, no, no, what are you telling me? And I got really nervous and mad, and she was trying to calm me down. And she doesn't know what to tell me anymore. She just told me, oh, okay, okay, you need to wait what the doctor is going to do. You need to come in 2 weeks for the follow up. And I was just, oh. I couldn't believe it. I remember because I still was crying and mad and nervous. I remember my dad was waiting for me at the car outside the office because I don't like to drive. And when I have to go into a procedure with a doctor either.
Sure.
And I remember putting my sunglasses on and because I didn't want my dad to see my face, but he
Mm.
already know, and he asked me, "What the doctor told you?" And I told him, she told me, I have cancer like my mom, and I'm gonna die, and it's Javier is my husband name, fault." And my dad was like, "Specials, no, but
Now, how old were your kids at the time?
my oldest I think was 11. My daughter was 10 and my little one 6. 5 or 6
So you
because
heard, or the doctor said, the physician assistant said precancerous cells on your cervix, and you heard, I have cancer like my mom and I'm going to die.
yeah, it's all right here. And
Okay.
I was thinking, why I have to go through this again? Why my kids? What is gonna happen with my kids? I was making so many scenarios on my mind. I'm an overthinker. I always do the worst scenario. And my dad was a specialist. When I come home, my husband works night shift. He just wake up, and I remember him asking me, and I was so hurt. I believe what the physician assistant told me because supposedly they study many years, they know better. And I was thinking I just get infected with the HPV. I didn't know how you can get infected. When I get home, I told my husband, what the doctor told you? He asked me, and I told him, I have cancer, I'm gonna die, and it's your fault. Like
Oh,
that.
poor thing.
Yeah, he was like a specialist too. And why are you telling? Why are you telling me? Why are you accusing me for that? I swear I didn't know nothing, and I start like, you need to tell me. You need to tell me what you did. You need to tell me because I'm gonna die. It was everything I was in my mind. For me, cancer. I always related cancer with that, with the death.
Well, sure,
It's
having lost your mom.
Yeah, and I have lost family from cancer to other types of cancer, and I always related with that. And
So no, it's just did you find out later like what else can cause this type of HPV infection besides
mm,
like the two worst case scenarios?
yeah, I learned when I went to survivor school, looking for answers during that 2 weeks. I was looking on the internet and I found survivor, and they explained it to me what the physician assistant didn't do. They explain me it's a common virus. Most people is gonna get infected. 80% of the world population is gonna get infected sometime, someday.
80%? Really?
80% or more
Wow.
people, but people like me or like my survivor sister are in immune system is not gonna ride of it. We are gonna get some kind of cancer. But the other people, most people get dry easily of it. They didn't notice they have HPV.
So it's just
But
kind of like any other virus. It just
yeah,
comes in and goes
it's
through
like a
and
flu.
leaves.
It's like a flu. It's common as the flu. But because it's a sexual related virus, people we always believe on other things. It's like the promiscuous thing, the cheating thing is not like that. They told me you don't know when you get infected. And when I went to survivor school is when I learned more about it. I always ask the question, can you tell me how long is the virus on your system, or you can tell when you get infected? And the doctors already told me no, we cannot. We didn't know.
Hmm.
Until today we didn't know.
All right. So you were able to just have surgery without the
Yeah.
need for anything else, and because of your mom's issues, you opted for what kind of surgery?
The doctor told me he's gonna the procedure I'm gonna get is a radical hysterectomy. They're gonna get rid of everything because I already have 3 kids. I already have the tubal ligation. I'm not hoping to have more kids, and he wanted to my ovaries to stay, but I told him no. I wanted to get rid of my ovaries because my mom his ovarian cancer history,
Right.
and because I already when I was young I was diagnosed with polycystic ovarian syndrome. I already had problems with my ovaries, and I told him he didn't want it because I was 38 at the time. He said I was too young to get into menopause, but I told him, yeah, I prefer to get into menopause than coming next year or a few years later and worry for ovarian cancer. It was something I need, and I have to make an argument with him and he accepted. At the end, he accepted. Okay, I will do it. But you know, okay, you're gonna be into hormonal replacement therapy for more than 20 years. And I say, okay, I don't care. I'm gonna do it, but I need to take away the thinking about the ovarian cancer thing.
Because you don't need that added stress. I mean,
No.
cancer, they tell people, and we all know that the less stress you can be under, the less chance of recurrence or other cancers or anything like that. So the last thing you
Yeah.
needed was that added stress of, oh my gosh, boy, the cervical cancer is gone, but I still have my ovaries. So here we go.
Yeah. It got a little freeze. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So this was in 2018. And then you didn't really look for, I don't want to say help, but support, for almost 5 years. So what was going on in your life, in your head during those 5 years that
Uh,
you didn't reach out at all?
okay. I joined the survivor group. I checked the stories of the other woman there, and I feel guilt. I feel guilty because I didn't go chemotherapy or radiation. They weren't going through things more harder than me, and I feel at the same time I wasn't a cancer patient enough. Is what going to my mind. Is what I thought at the time because nobody explained me nothing. I have to learn by myself, and I left the group for about 5 years. During the pandemic, I have the opportunity to go back to college because I have doing a paralegal associate, and they don't allow us to go into uh, online classes. And during the pandemic, the college allows us again, and I focuses on finish my college, my associate's degrees at the time, focuses on my kids, trying to enjoy life better, and I got to focus on my um, school time that I forgot. I left aside the cancer thing.
You were just living in the present, right? And
Yeah,
doing life. That's awesome.
yeah.
And I want to kind of come back to that a little because I actually did a solo episode a few months ago about what I call survivor's guilt. Because I was in a similar situation. I had surgery, I had radiation, but it was like 5 treatments of radiation. It was easy, like I had no side effects, no nothing. And I went through a long period of, okay, well, mine wasn't as bad as other people's. So do I really deserve this, to join a support group, to look into things, and that other cancer survivors are going to think that, oh well, hers wasn't as bad, so she doesn't really count. And I just want to kind of just emphasize that because I think it's something that a lot of people go through who are like us and don't have like all of the treatments and lose your hair and the chemo and all the other things. But that is so far from the truth, which I'm hoping that you learned when you finally like tapped back into Survivor, that like when you hear those 3 words, you have cancer, like it doesn't matter anything else. It's we all feel the same things regardless of what kind of treatment that we need. And so
Yeah.
hopefully you eventually were, I don't want to even say were accepted because it's nothing to be accepted to, but finally understood that you're part of the family.
Yeah, yeah, I finally understood until I went. It was 2023 when I got this email from Survivor inviting me to Survivor School. And I say, okay, I have already almost I have already graduated from college, starting my bachelor in criminal justice, and I say, okay, I will check what this is about. I will go and check if I like. It's something I always wanted to do, the advocacy thing, but I didn't know how. And that's the thing with Survivor School. I when I was there, I understand. I was part of the family, like you mentioned it. I understand. Sorry about that. My husband is
That's
sick.
okay.
Yeah, uh, I understand that my story matters. I always underestimate my story. And they remember me. I was too shy all the time, but I was checking the environment, and I was just, oh, let's see how I feel. Let's see if I don't feel like it's still the guilt, because this for me the stories of them were more harder. They went through some more things, and when they embraced me and they told me your story matters, is when I finally um, I understand, but yeah, I need to do something. They give me the tools to start doing something, to understand that uh, when my story can bring some more women to do the prevention, to check early, to get cervical cancer early, to go and get checked, to vaccinate their kids. I start owning my story.
So tell us a little bit more about what Survivor School is. And this is CERVIVOR, not SUR. And
Yeah.
it is specifically, I think it's specifically for cervical cancer. So tell us a little bit about like what the school entails.
Survivor School is 3 days of training. They give you the tools to, if you want to start advocating, they explaining what Survivor does. Survivor is a global group of support caregivers, patients, and survivors. We educate about cervical cancer and promote the HPV vaccine, the importance of the HPV vaccine. We have a training how you can share your story better, how the most new treatments, the most new statistics, how you can talk with your public representatives, see you want to share your story, how you do your advocacy, how do you better. They teach us how to learn how to share a story in less time, trying to make it shorter, depending your audience, how to talk to them, how to approach people. And they always told us, you are the owner of your story. Nobody can tell it better than you.
That's beautiful. And, and I've said it before and I'll say it again that the more people, and that's part of the reason for this podcast, is the more people out there willing to share their story, the more advocates are in the world for people to become aware, to go and get tested, to go and get checked, and hopefully know that there is support out there should those tests come back positive. So I am all for, if people don't want to share their stories, like I totally understand. It's a very personal, private thing. Um, but you give so much to others when you can share, what you went through, because people just want to know that there are other people out there who have gone through it or who are going through it and somebody that they can relate to.
Yeah, they want to know that you are not alone. I think
Yeah.
everyone wants to know they are not alone. There's so much people unfortunately going through this, but if we can support each other, it's better. I think I found in this group the understanding that other people don't can do it,
Right.
and the
And it doesn't
system.
matter if you had no treatment or 1,000 treatments, bam,
Yeah.
you are a survivor and that's all that matters.
Yes. Yes. That's it.
All right. So you apparently just when I'm assuming like after you came back from survivor school that you just dove headfirst into volunteering and advocacy and how did you get involved in the other groups and organizations that you are a volunteer for?
Yeah, I was in a summit, Survivor Summit, no, Cervical Cancer Summit last January
Okay.
from is UCSD Cancer More Center. They have a presentation. They invite me through Survivor to share my story, and there was these two women from Every Woman Counts from the program in California. It's a federal program for cervical and breast cancer screenings, and they were there. They were sharing, I sharing my story, they were sharing the program, and I asked something about the rural, what's going on where I live. It's a rural area with only two hospitals, and I was increping the UCSD hospitals, what they are gonna do,
And that's
because
University of California at San
University of
Diego,
California,
correct?
San
Okay.
Diego. Yeah, I was, excuse me, asking me what they're gonna do, because we are almost getting without no health care here. And I remember telling them we don't have programs, we don't have these, and they told me, yeah, we have this program, but we don't have people there. We need someone who is able to help us to spread the word about the program in the Imperial Valley. And it's when Carla contacted me, and it's when I started working with Every Woman Counts. They opened me the doors to going to. It was my first health fair at the consulate, at the Mexican consulate. And
Wow.
and at the Mexican consulate, I met Melissa from American Cancer Society Cancer Action Network, and she told me, "Hey, I always need someone who wants to talk about their cancer experience. Do you want to write down your story?" And I said, "Yeah, I wanna." It was a little bit, and I wrote it down. And I remember it was March, and she in 2 weeks after that, I got an email from American Cancer Society Cancer Action Network from San Diego, inviting me to the Sacramento Loving Day. Is when I started, and if you wanna come, you wanna help us, and I say yes, I will go. And and I remember if when Immigrant Angels, it was when during the Survivor Summit 2024 in New York, then Johnny Immerman came and gave us, he talked about his story. And I remember him when I was looking for help for my mom. I remember his team responding to my emails, trying to help me, and I started crying. And when came back from the summit, I signed up to be a mentor. It took long to get matched with someone, but I was happy to help, and I like to help. But before I didn't know how. I think Survivor, Every Woman Counts, American Cancer Society, and Immigrant Angels, they opened me the doors to start doing this, and I like them. I enjoy to do it. I wanted to help the people, because I went through this alone, just with my family support, my immediate family, and I don't want more people to going through this alone, to feel that they don't have help, they don't know what to do or where to go.
Oh, I love that. So just kind of real quick, so what is the purpose? So you said Every Woman Counts is a federal program. What is the purpose? What does Every Woman Counts do in the community?
Every woman's counts help people without insurance, with medical limited, living in California, low income, the copay is too high, or if they don't have documents to pay for the pap test, the mammograms, and the HPV test too. If the person has like a diagnosis, we can refer them. with the institutions can follow up to give them treatment.
Gotcha. So it really helps them to at least get screened.
Yeah, yeah, it's more, we work more into prevention.
Okay.
If
Well,
you,
and I would imagine, living in the community that you live in a very rural community, that there are a lot of low income people who might not have health insurance, who, might not be able to afford it. And so those people just, they don't ever go and get checked at all because, of whatever barriers. So this organization really helps to remove that barrier so people can at least get tested and know, instead of, gee, I've got stage 4, terminal cancer now because I never got checked. Is that kind of the
yeah,
idea?
yes, it's plan the idea. We work more in prevention. We're trying to help people to make sure they get a screen.
Yeah.
If they cannot pay, we can help to pay or get, if they get like a diagnosis, like I say, to get treatment too. It's more the mission is like prevention, and we provide like patient navigation too for people who doesn't know how to make an appointment, or sometimes people who doesn't speak English. There's a lot of people around here who doesn't speak English. Uh, their first language is more like Spanish, but I think we have materials in other languages too,
I
and
love it.
and in other areas where it's a lot different population with different language, I believe they have people who can help them too.
Okay. And is this a program that's only in California or is it nationwide?
No, it's a federal program.
Okay.
But I just know when I started working with them, there is a program who's about like more than 10 years going around. I didn't know when I get my diagnosis, but they say, like, I don't remember the exact letters from the program. I think it's Federal Cervical Cancer and Breast Cancer Screening something.
Okay.
But in California, it's called Every Woman Counts.
Gotcha. Okay. And then Immerman Angels is kind of just a mentorship support. Like talk a little bit about that one too.
Yeah, Remember Angels is like it's a support group for people who were caregivers of cancer patients, or if they were cancer patients too. You can help other people who is going through, like because caregivers, most of the time we didn't take care of them. They need someone who
Absolutely.
can tell, who can talk to them. It's more like we just hear what the person is, just listen what the person want to say. It's more like that kind of support. Also for a patient who is going through some kind of cancer, like me, if someone is going through precancerous cells and they didn't know too much, and that person needs someone to talk about it, they match me with that person, and I can just listen to her, or I can talk a little bit about my story, but it's not about me, it's always about them. The same with the caregiver. Doesn't matter if you're going through like a different kind of cancer, but in my case, it was my mom caregiver. They matched me with someone who was a caregiver for their mom, and we can talk and just listen. That's what I do. Just listen to them and tell them that they are not alone, and then like acknowledge their feelings too.
I love that. And, some people, they don't want to join a support group with a bunch of other people, or there may not be like, breast cancer, there's support groups everywhere. There's not
Yeah,
necessarily support groups for all the different types of cancer. So this is a way to be able to talk without
yeah,
necessarily having to be in a group of people and you've got somebody there to listen to you.
yes, yes.
Gosh,
It's
I love
something
that.
like that. It's like a one-on-one, like more individual kind
Mhm.
of support.
Right. I love that. And I love how you went from, I don't want to talk about it. I just want to get on with my life. I'm doing things to, now you're out there all over the place and helping as many people as possible. It's so inspirational.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right.
It's like I found
So, I almost always ask this of my guests. So, what is one piece of advice that you would give to someone who maybe is just diagnosed or is just kind of starting on this cancer journey? What's one piece of advice that you would give to that person?
for me is look for a support group or for someone to talk. It's always help. Don't look in Google about your diagnosis. Don't listen to people. Sometimes they say nonsense. Look for the people who knows what is this about it. If you don't feel comfortable with your medical team, you have the choice to look for a different opinion. Always advocate for yourself. If anything doesn't look good or doesn't or you don't like them, always advocate for yourself. Always speak about it. And for me, it's very important to have that support and to believe it. You are not alone. There are so many groups that they can help you and they understand what you're going through.
I love it. I love it. All right. So, Claudia, where can people find you if they want to reach out to you, if they, are in the process of all of this and they just want to talk or they want to, hear more of your story? How can people find you?
Okay, you can find me in the Survivor website, survivor.org
Okay.
slash Claudia. That's my story there. I'm in Instagram, like it's Claisa PF, I think is my Instagram, or just on Facebook, Claudia Perez-Favela. You search like that. My email is Claisa, Claisa, P as in Peter, F in Fernando, gmail.com. This
Okay.
is my personal email. You can send me, or you always sharing Survivor things on the Survivor website, in the Instagram, with American Cancer Society. I don't think I'm in the website, but I'm the the ambassador here in the Imperial Valley, District 25. I do lobbying with them, and you can see me around Imperial Valley on the Health First most of the time.
Awesome. And we will put all of that information in the show notes. So you don't have to write it all down. It'll be in the
Okay.
show notes. You can we'll put all the links in there and everything so people can reach out to you.
Okay.
All right. So thank you so much for this fabulous conversation. I have really enjoyed it. I love your story. I love how you just have that giving heart of service and helping others go through this. It's just such a beautiful thing. So I really appreciate you being on today and sharing your story.
Thank you so much, Melissa, for inviting me. It was a pleasure and an honor to be here. Thank you
All right.
for helping me to spread the word.
Absolutely. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
You too. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.